Hey everyone, today we have Dustin with his Harpie Deck and he's going to be giving us a profile, so I'll let it go with him.
Alright, what's up guys? This is my Harpie Deck. I've been playing it at a few locals recently. I really want to try this out at a regional. I still have to decide what I'm going to play at the regional coming up on December 7th. I might do this just because dragons are boring. I've won a couple locals. I got second, like top 2 usually with this deck. It works really well. There's not really much I can do to it, but I'll go ahead and get started. Got 3 Harpie Channelers, this main engine of the deck. You play enough Harpies in here, you just discard a Harpie to special summon a Harpie from your deck, and if you have a dragon, it's level. If you control the dragon type monster, she's level 7, so she makes easy big eye plays with Harpie's pet dragon, big eye Dracosac, Master of Blades, whatever. She makes easy rank 4 plays. She's just like the main. She gets the deck going, and she's treated as a Harpie on the field, so it works with stuff. And in the graveyard, excuse me. She works with stuff like Egotist and Party. She just has everything. She's the heart and soul of the deck, obviously. 3 Harpie Dancers. I get a lot of criticism for this. A lot of people only like to play 1 or 2 of these because of how small it is, how it doesn't really work in Harpies. I beg to differ. I think this card is incredibly broken in this deck, and I'll show you why when I get to the spells. Why I play 3 of these. You'll probably guess by now what it is, but I'll explain that in a little bit when I get to the other cards. 3 Harpie Queen, self-explanatory. She searches for your hunting ground. She's huge. She's 1900. She's a Harpie in the graveyard. Lots of party OTKs, but there's 3 of them. Harpie Lady 1, I used to play 3 Cyber Harpie Lady because they were generic 1800 beater at all times. This is only 1600 usually, but you get 2 of them on the field, you start making monsters that are hard to deal with, like Chidori with 2200, 2500. You make Dracosac with 2900. Dragons have a hard time dealing with a Dracosac with 2900 attack. But these are very versatile. They make all your wins really big. You special summon it with Egotist, you start adding up attack points. You can just succeed with them, whatever. They don't have to be attack boosters. They're just like any other Harpie Lady you'd play, but I like the 300 bonus, and that's why I decided to play those. 2 Harpie's Pet Dragons. Most people only play 1. I've seen a few people play 2. I prefer 2. You don't draw 2 of them often enough to worry about it. Obviously if you draw it, it's really bad. But if you only play 1 and you draw 1, you don't have your big eye play anymore. You lost your big eye play, and big eye is very important game 1, I believe, because it deals with any sort of rogue strategy that you can't deal with. Like, for example, Battle and Boxers. Not an incredibly good deck, but when they get out Lead Yoke, it becomes incredibly hard to deal with. Now I believe this deck has a good matchup against Lead Yoke, but Big Eye is just really good against it because then they can't deal with it, especially after you hit it once and it becomes a 3000 attack Lead Yoke. But anyway, I'm getting off track here, sorry. 2 Pet Dragons, because if you draw 1, your important Big Eye play is dead. If you play 2, you still have it, and you can always discard it with Channeler, bring it back with Queen Dragon Vision in defense mode and stall for a little bit. There's just so, I think 2 is a good number. It doesn't really bother me. And then 2 Summoner Monk. Obviously, Hysteric Sign is a ridiculous card, and Summoner Monk just makes you can get Dweller, you can get Cowboy, you can get Channeler, and get something else to make any play off of the Channeler that you want. But discarding Sign to get anything is just a stupid play. I don't know, I can't explain it to you. Some people say that you shouldn't run Monk because it's it's situational, but I'm like, no, it's too good. Anyway, I don't play any Veilers or Maxis because I don't know, I just don't have any reason to play enough traps. I'm not really need to draw a whole lot of cards. This deck pretty much searches whatever it wants. With this guy, we get the spells. Hysteric Sign. Sent from the hand or the field of the graveyard, you search for 3 different Harpies. I think this is the most ridiculous card in a long time. It's only for this deck, but it makes this deck do a lot of stupid things. Basically what I'll do is I'll have it set as a bluff, and some people will MST it, or I'll set it and they'll Black Rose, or you can set it when you have hunting ground and you don't want to kill any of your stuff, so you set it and then you kill it and you get a search. Obviously, you can activate it for Egotist and make rank 4 plays like easy, or my favorite thing to do besides discard it with Summer Monk is discard it with Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. Because Phoenix Wing Wind Blast is a really good card this format, and this card, it just makes this card really live. So you get to lock your opponent down for a turn, or if it's an Exceed monster, you just get to get rid of it outright, and then you get 3 searches in the end phase. Word of advice: if you ever want to build this deck or play this deck, don't do it unless you know how to remember your end phase effects. If you guys played X Sabers back in the day, if there was ever a time you played X Sabers and you forgot Dark Soul more often than you should have, don't play this deck because you'll do the same thing with this card. And you can't afford to forget this card because this card searches for 3 cards in the end phase, not just 1. You can't forget that. So if you forget it, don't play the deck. It was just word of advice. 1 Egotist, searchable from the deck or graveyard by Hysteric Sign. So I think only 1 is necessary. You don't have to use it to make Exceed plays, but it helps. It also just puts an extra Harpie Lady 1 on the board for more damage. You know, it adds at least 1600 to the board, and then plus 300 for any other monsters you have. Also, I'll explain what else to do with that card in a minute. Back to the Harpie Dancer thing. I played 3 of these. People call me crazy for this. I think this is a ridiculous card. I played a Mist Valley deck. Before this Harpie deck that relied on Dancer and this card, and it special summoned Mist Valley monsters and then used tuners to make the Mist Valley Thunderlord, and you keep bouncing this and abusing it. But anyway, Dancer with this card, use Dancer, bounce it back, summon something, get like a Harpie Lady 1 or something to add more damage to the board, and then you can, usually what you'll do is you'll normal summon a Channeler off the Dancer, or you'll special summon a Channeler with this card instead of the Dancer, and it adds a lot of damage to the board. It adds a lot of, Exceed plays. You discard the Dancer that you bounced for Channeler's effect, so you actually get your, you get your cost back. You don't lose that. But anyway, it wins games. It adds a lot of damage. It gets Harpies out of your deck for party. This just has a lot of benefits to it, and I play 3 of them because I'm crazy like that. I only play 2 Hunting Ground. I don't think it's good enough to play 3. It's a really dead draw. This card I don't feel is a dead draw. It can be sometimes, but it's more important with the Dancer, and since Dancer is searchable. Anyway, Hunting Ground, only 2. Don't need more than 2, even though I'm playing 3 Queen. Because let's face it, when you have this out and your opponent doesn't set anything, you have to be careful when you summon because you don't want to lose your cards unless you, like I said, unless you set a sign bluff. You don't want to kill this card unless you have to. The 200 attack boost helps with the, it combines with the Harpie Lady 1, gives all your guys plus 500. So it actually, it's really good. But anyway, it's searchable, and it's just, I don't know. I don't like 3 that much. If I played 6 field spells, it'd be a little too much, I think. And, kind of contradictory, but I do play 1 Terraforming. This is in there just in case I don't draw the Divine Wind, or it can get me a Hunting Ground in a pinch if I don't have the Queen, or if I do have the Queen but I need to summon it to get over something like this. I don't know, I feel 1 helps out a little bit. It gets me whatever I need when I need it. It's just a just-in-case card. Dark Hole, Book of Moon. Dark Hole kills everything. Book of Moon is a good defensive card. Good for getting over stuff. There's lots of reasons for Book of Moon. And if it's ever dead, summon amongst the cards. So, and then we'll go on to the traps. 3 Hysteric Party, or as I like to call it, Return from the Different Dimension. Wins games flat out. Also, it costs you 1 card from your hand to activate it, so you discard Sign. So if you don't win that turn, you're obviously going to make Exceed plays. You're going to be pushing for a lot of damage. You can usually push for a lot of damage and then go Cowboy. But anyway, discard Sign with it, and you get another stupid plus in the end phase. But anyway, Return from the Different Dimensions is limited. If you could play 3 of those, you'd play 3. Same principle with this. In this deck, it just works too well not to play 3. If you play less than 3, you're not going to draw it when you need it. Usually only need one to win. 2 Phoenix Wing Wind Blasts. I choose to play this over a Geki break because I feel like locking your opponent's draw is more hurtful to them than killing something, especially in a format where a lot of graveyard effects will benefit them more than putting them back in the deck. I also chose to play this over Icarus Attack. I don't play Icarus Attack in this deck. I think it's terrible in this deck. And the only reason is because your monsters are going to be more used for seed plays or for pushing damage. You're really not going to leave the Harpies on the field that often, and you don't have anything that replaces itself. It's not like Black Wings that had Vayu, or it's not like Shura that killed a card and then main phase 2, or you get a monster in the main phase 2, you set the Icarus, since you can't use that monster anyway. But anyway, I don't use Icarus because I would rather exceed and set up party. I would also rather discard signs out of my hand than tribute Harpies on the field. I just feel like this is a better card. I don't know. And like I said, destroying cards, putting them in the graveyard, especially in a dragon format, is really not ideal. 2 Mirror Force, defensive trap, works against a lot of things. Some people, I see more and more people playing this card, and so more people expect it, but I still play it because it's just mass removal. It's it's just a really good card. If you can hit 2 monsters off it anymore, it's really good. Torrential, mass monster removal. I only play 16 monsters, so if there's ever a time where I don't have a monster in the field, no big deal. I'll have something to back it up. Let's see here. Bottomless, monster removal works really well against dragons because they lose one of their dragons. Solemn Warning. Good card against a lot of rogue strategies. I don't like it against dragons. I usually set it out against dragons because the dragons come back, and you losing 2,000 life points isn't really ideal against dragons because it did you no good. But anyway, so it's a good removal card. Compulsory, excellent removal card against synchros like Stardust Dragon, Draco's, XCs like Draco Sack, anything. Maestro, just good removal card in general. Last but not least, a lot of people know about this card by now, but Magical Hats. Magical Hats is such a fun card and makes me love this deck even more than before I played it. Magical Hats, if you have a monster during your opponent's battle phase, you take 2 spell or traps from your deck and you shuffle it with the monster face down, and they become monsters and they die at the end of the battle phase. But anyway, what you do, everybody knows you get Sign, and I've seen people play this deck and they get Sign and then they get something like Phoenix Wing or a Mirror Force or a Book of Moon or an MST or something, or one of their Harpies hunting grounds because they don't they don't feel like they're gonna need them. But why waste that? Why not get the Elegant Egotist? This card can be brought back from the graveyard with this card if you need it. This is the ideal play. You have to get 2 different ones, I believe, or no, you don't. But you don't want to get 2 signs because only one works in the Amethyst. Anyway, you get these 2. Because now this is out of your deck, you're not going to dead draw it. It'll be in the graveyard if you ever need to actually use it. You just activate Sign, get it back. But so these are the 2 ideal cards because this one will die no matter what. You'll get your searches during the end phase. Your monster will be safe unless they hit it. But whatever, if they hit it, oh well. So you get these 2 cards off hats, and it's just really, really killer. Another thing I don't play, I've seen a lot of people play, is Zephyros. Zephyros, I especially don't play it because I don't play Icarus Attack, but I know you can discard it with that or that, but really that's about it. If I'm activating one of these, I should be winning or I should be making Exceeds plays. I don't need to bounce this card. I don't feel like bouncing this card in my hand is important enough to run Zephyros. Because Zephyros is a dead draw. It has no synergy in this deck. I can set it or I can summon it and attack with it. I can discard it with a couple of these cards, but that's about it. It has no other purpose. I just don't like Zephyros. That's it for the main deck. It's 40 cards, 16 monsters, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 traps. That leaves 12 spells, I believe. Okay. Extra deck. 2 Lightning Story. Best Exceed for this deck. Any 2 of my Harpies make this guy, causes a lot of problems for a lot of decks. I get rid of a back row. A lot of times it's a Mirror Force and they're like, oh man, yeah, that's right. And then you get rid of Exceed or Synchro with it, or if you want to bounce something to their hand that you don't want them to have, you can do that. But it's more ideal to use it on a Synchro or Exceed because it just kills it outright, basically. It's so good, and like I said, once you get Harpie Lady 1 on the field, it becomes big, and it's a little bit harder to deal with, but this card wins games. It locks your opponents down, and it also combos well with Phoenix Wing. You can put a card on the bottom so they're not going to draw it, put a card on the top, and then you Phoenix Wing another card on the top, and they basically just lost 2 of their draw phases. To Phantasmal Dragon, I really don't summon more than 1, but it's there in case I need it. This card is game winning. Once your opponent is down to that magic 6,000 or less, this card becomes very, very clutch. You summon it, they can't target it or any harpies. They can't attack it. It's untargetable. You can't kill it. They have to dark hole it basically or mirror force it. And I'm prepared to. I like my odds. Attacks directly 2,000, and it's especially like like I said, when you get the Harpie Lady 1 on the field, it becomes really big and hard to deal with, and it wins games. It's even better when they're down below like 4,000 because it takes you 2 turns to win. So if they don't have a dark hole in 2 turns, you win. Essentially, it's just a really good card. I could probably take 1 out, but I don't really need anything else right now. Maybe a Gemini Pearl, who knows. ISB Zero Fine. I don't summon this as often as a lot of people think I did, but it works well. Like it's better after a party because you have a bunch of cards on the field and then you use her effect and she becomes really big. I had her up to like 4,600 a couple weeks ago against someone. It does help against monsters I can't deal with, like let's see, like Maestro, Zen Mains, Lead Yoke, anything like that. It negates the effect and I can just kill it. It's a good card to have in there, but it doesn't come in handy 100% of the time. Queen Dragon's Djinn, I'm still kind of iffy about this card. I mean, it's good to. The only thing you can do with it is bring back a Harpie's Pet Dragon in defense and sit on it while you wait, or you can summon a Channeler and make a Draco Sack, Big Eye Play, whatever. I mean, it's okay. I mean, I don't use it as often as I'd like, but it's still in there for now. Diamond Dire Wolf, Suicide Bomber, kills itself, kills something else. Actually, it can kill a Wing Beast, so I can actually kill a Wing Beast on the field. It's actually more versatile than I thought it was. So I don't have to kill this. I can actually get 2 uses out of this if I need to. So it's a little bit better in this deck than I thought. Black Ship of Corn, just against random stuff, like my Stroke or Zen Mains, anything that I need to kill. Pyramid Turtle, whatever, it's a good card. My Stroke deals with Ophion, deals with a lot of random crap, and it doesn't die. It's just a good thing to poke with. Dweller against dragons, mermaids, dark world, anything that I hate, all those dumb graveyard decks. Gaga Cowboy wins games, put him in defense, kill you. Yeah, don't need to explain, it's Cowboy. Gaia Dragon for my right 7s. Good against tokens like Draco Sack. Yeah, it's a game-winning card. You can low defense things. It does a lot of damage, and it's wins. So, again, that Magic 2900 against dragons, it's harder to deal with. What's this Star Eater? Okay, Star Eater, Master of Blades. Everybody knows how to play around this card. Just don't target it. It's not that hard to kill, but it's good late game, like when your opponent doesn't have a lot of cards at their disposal. They got like 1 or 2 cards in their hand. He becomes a little harder to deal with. He's in there just in case. I don't summon him terribly often, but he's good. And Big Eye, self-explanatory, he takes care of everything. And Draco Sack, self-explanatory because he kills things and he's big and he's wind. He becomes that Magic 2900 with Harpie Lady 1. Anyway, that's it. There's 15 there. It's all Exceeds, no Synchros. I don't play any tuners. Like I said, no Valors, no Max Cs. I don't know if there's anything else that I don't play that everybody else sees in standard builds, but I think this is really consistent. It works for me. I know how to play it, and yeah, that's about it. I don't have a side deck to show you. My side deck changes, varies tournament to tournament, especially locals, depending on who shows up, because people play random crap, and I don't want to deal with that. random little thing to tell you, I know they just changed the rule back where you don't have to play extra deck sleeves the same as your main deck anymore, but with Harpies I still choose to do this because of magical hats. You know, if I have a Chidori out I need to protect, I want to protect it. I don't want to have to sit there and change sleeves or anything. Yeah, so anyway, that's it. You know, I like the deck, it's pretty fun. And, I don't know, do you have any questions for me?
Thank you, Dustin. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below.